let's go ahead and start with our discussion items. Mr. Salem.
The last week of school is, I believe, May 24th through May the 28th. There is that right? May 24th through 28th? I think so. And we have testing through that week? No, that's not true. The next week is the last week of school. But there is testing the week of May the 24th through 28th. And in order for our elementary schools to be able to have consistent days in testing, we have been asked to move the remote learning day, which would be on that on that Wednesday, to Friday, and to make Wednesday a full instructional day for testing, okay? And so that's a move that we just need to make. So in short, we need to move the remote day from the 26th to the 28th, and then that Friday will be the remote learning day for that week, okay? Is that clear to you? You understand what I'm saying? Okay, all right. Another thing that I need for you all to look at is the calendar for the next school year, and that was given to you just before we started. It's part of that pack. Looks like this, okay? The highlights of the calendar include the fact that we were able to keep 2 weeks for Christmas, which is very important to our staff. That we're able to bring our students in on August the 16th and get the first semester completed before Christmas. That is critical. We're able to do that because of our winter weather waiver. There is sort of a fall break the first week of October, and that the reason that we've put it on the 4th, 5th, and sort of the 6th, it's not really a break, but the students will be able to work from a different location on that day. The reason that we do that is because of the Fall Festival in Cherokee. And there will be an inauguration this year, isn't that right? Am I correct?
For council.
Will there will be an inauguration, and so there are some pieces that have to be in place, plus the parade, plus the Children's Day. And that always creates a dilemma for the school system, so we just made those 3 days, work days and a remote learning day. Now you're going to notice something that's a little bit unusual, and that is every fourth Friday, it's part of being a kind of a data-based driven school system. And so every fourth Friday, unless there is some kind of an interruption with other holidays, will be a remote. See that in the month of August. Did I say Friday? I'm sorry, Monday. My mistake. You'll see that in August, September, October, January, February, March, and April. Okay? Now, how will that work? The teachers will front load the previous week. Their students' work either on the computer or in their hands, and the students will be expected to complete that work on that Monday or have it done when they come back into class on Tuesday. All right? So they're not losing instructional time, but they are losing some face-to-face. Now, that's a concern. However, I believe with all of my heart that loss of face-to-face instruction is worth the outcome that will happen in their professional learning conversations. We've seen that this year. Our instruction is better right now because of our Wednesdays. So we want to continue that. Now, you will also notice that on Fridays, I believe I tried to make it the third Friday or the second Friday of each month, we have an early dismissal at 1 o'clock. That's so that they can have that afternoon for additional conversation and work towards professional learning for the students. Okay? And we're only losing a couple of hours of instructions on those days. Now, do you understand the rationale behind those? I'm trying to give our staff an opportunity to really dig into the student data so that they can have better instruction in the classroom. Okay? Other important pieces, spring break will be the week of the 11th. That is not the week after Easter. That is the week before Easter. We're doing it that way because almost all of the school systems in the Smoky Mountain Conference are doing it the same way. Okay? And I would encourage, if anybody from any district is watching this, that is a Smoky Mountain Conference district, and you have a different week for spring break, that you make it that week. Not because we are, but because that really helps our students and our athletic planning, okay? Other than that, I think the rest is pretty much self-explanatory. Do you have any questions or concerns, please, anyone?
That's good.
There will never be a perfect calendar that pleases every single person. I need to tell you that there is a bill in the House right now. It's House Bill 654, which may render this calendar obsolete.
654.
654, because about halfway down, HB 654 is a line that says school systems may only have 5 remote learning days, and they must be for weather or for an emergency. Our remote learning days are for neither. They're for planning and instructional purposes. But if 654 passes, we'll have to go back and redo this somehow. Okay?
Now, remind me, am I wrong? Wasn't it several years ago that we had 5 days of instructional planning time for teachers, and that disappeared?
Yes.
That's what I
They took it away and made them regular instruction days.
Right. And
The
so
state did.
That was, I thought I was right. That's when we had to start improvising how we do it, because
Yes.
it was no longer in the calendar.
Yes. The reason that we can't just turn those remote learning days into teacher work days is because we will lose instructional hours, and then we won't meet the minimum requirement. Okay? Another bill that you might want to keep your eyes on is House Bill 202, and that bill has been provided for us by Mike Clampett. He has jumped onto it and put our name there, and it will give you, as the school board, sole authority for the school calendar outside of the regulations of some of the legislation that's in place right now. In other words, if you wanted to start school on Monday, August the 2nd, as a school board, you could do that. Okay? Now, will it make it through the Senate? It's anybody's guess. There are a number of bills in the House right now that are all pushing in that direction. Okay? All right. That's, unless you have questions about the calendar. Is Jennifer here? No? Do they have a copy, Joanne, do they have a copy of the school nutrition bid? Okay? Every year, Jennifer has to complete the school nutrition bid, and she has provided that for you. If you would like to vote on that tonight, you may, or you can put that off when she could be here and have a conversation about it. Personally, I trust her. I can't answer a question about that. Okay?
So these are all renewals of existing contracts,
Yes, ma'am.
and you don't have any issues with them at all?
No. Jennifer runs a great program.
Yeah.
We're one of the few school systems in the state that continually, perhaps you could call it, has a profit at the end of the year. Any questions or thoughts? Do you want to vote on that tonight, or do you want to wait until you can talk to Jennifer? It's up to you.
So,
Okay, we'll do that when we get to the action item. Stephanie is here to talk to you about budget amendments, and she also needs to tell you about a regulation that's coming from the state level with installment pay for staff.
Are you done? You want me to back up?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
I'll put this on. Okay, so budget amendments first. There really wasn't a whole lot to the budget amendments for April. For state public school fund, most of it was just doing some movement between some purpose codes and mainly just between some object codes. But we did get additional funding in our teacher allotment, and it was just for the amount that we already paid early in the year for new teacher orientation. That was $4,195, and then we received an additional allotment of $6,000 for transportation, and that is to purchase 2 stop-arm cameras. So we usually get an allotment every year to purchase 2 stop-arm cameras. In federal, basically the same thing. We just had some transfers between purpose code. There was one reduction. I had brought to you a budget amendment for an allotment for PRC 165 for some COVID funds, and so I just had to back that back out. So that was like $13,000. The rest of it, though, is just reallocation between some purpose codes. Child nutrition, Jennifer needs to make some budget amendments just once again between object codes. So you'll see an increase and a decrease for the same amount just because we move it between line items. And then finally, in the special revenue fund, we did receive some additional grants. We received an ARC grant that's coming through RESA of $9,747, and that's for CTE. And then we also received a Cherokee Preservation grant that's coming through RESA as well for $8,000, and that's for STEM. And we received an additional $7,700 for this year for our NASA grant. So, and the rest were just reallocations. Any questions? So Mr. Sale had told you that we were had gotten an update from the Department of Public Instruction that beginning with the next school year for 2021-22, they're eliminating the processing of installment pay. What that means is installment pay is for 10-month employees that elect to be paid over 12 months. And in the past, the state DPI has processed that. Basically, we were able to pay 10-month employees over 12 months and encumber those funds and then pay them out in June and July. And then they had a process worked out where we could accrue that liability and expense and therefore reserve that money from state and federal funds to make those payments for those months. They're no longer going to be processing that, so we have had to find an alternative to installment pay. So right now we feel like the best option is for our district and also for the employees is to work with financial institutions of the employee's choice to establish a summer savings account. We have 185 employees who are 10-month employees who receive their payments, their pay over 12 months currently. With this change, though, we could also allow 11-month employees. Also, we could, any 10-month or 11-month employee that's not a teacher or TA that may drive a bus or work in child nutrition could also establish a summer cash account. The only thing is that they would have to establish that with a financial institution. Several LEAs have been doing this since 2008. For us, the employees will receive their last installment check this year for this year's pay, July 2020. After that, then we would start with the new process. They'd still be able to save funds to be able to get summer pay. They would just have to select either State Employees Credit Union offers a summer cash account. We're not saying that that's the only option. We've talked to other local banks, but basically the option would be for them to set up a separate savings account. It wouldn't necessarily be like the summer cash account through the credit union. But we've spoken to other banks, and they'd be willing to work with our employees and also, come and speak to them about options that they would have at their institutions. I've just attached also to this what we plan to hand out to the employees. So after tonight, just want to make the board aware, and then we'll start sending this information out to the employees. But we've attached here the handout that we will give to the employees, as well as a breakdown of where most of our employees right now, where they their financial institution that they're doing their direct deposits through. And then also, the information from the state, from DPI, saying that they're no longer going to support the installment pay system. And then some information from the credit union about the summer cash account. There's no action to take, it's just to, make you aware, so. Any questions?
What is their goal in doing that?
It's part of the, I should have said that, I apologize. It's really because of the system, modernization, the school business, system modernization. It is a very difficult process on the state side to accommodate the installment pay, just because there is the accrual process, and then also after we make those payments, then we have to do what they call an installment collapse to show what we actually paid versus what we accrued, and then there's differences that have to be accounted for, and it's just, I guess, just complicated on their end to facilitate that. So that's, but they felt like with all the schools changing over with new software, now would be the time to change the process.
Are the staff aware this is coming?
No, they won't be until we tell them to.
I don't know, it just seems like a slap at them. I mean, there's enough of non-support in the state level that it's just, I know it's not going to change a great deal, but it still seems like another inconvenience for them.
Right. I mean, I mean, I wish that they would support it. It would be helpful. However, I mean, folks can also, have more control of how much they want to put back for the summer months. They don't have to, all their payroll deductions will come out during the 10 months, and then what they receive the last 2 months, they won't have to worry about, summer deductions or taxes. It'll, they will have more of a sense of what their exact amount's going to be for those last 2 months.
And there's no service charge from any of the banks, is that pretty much what you understand? I noticed this one says now.
Right. I mean, they'd have to check with each of their financial institutions just to see if there would be a cost. If they want to set up a separate savings account, I know for the credit union there isn't. If they're not currently with the credit union, I think the only thing would be that they would have to set up a share account just to, if they're not a member already, and have that minimum amount to set up a share account.
So that would start with the August paycheck?
It would start with the August paycheck, yes. I believe they could start it at any time.
Oh, okay.
That's the other thing. Like right now, we can't offer installment pay if someone is hired mid-year. But if someone is hired mid-year, they could go at any time and start an account, a summer cash account. So that's another benefit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We've been talking about the Alarka property for quite a while. And we sent out word to some families who we knew might be interested if they wanted to make a bid on that particular property, to send it to us, send it to the central office in a sealed envelope, and we've received 2 bids towards that. The reason that we did that to start with without advertising it was in order to establish a fair market value. One of the requirements of the school system is if we have surplus property that we may be wanting to declare we don't need anymore and do something with, we need a fair market value, and then we're supposed to offer that at that value to the county commissioners. And so we've established fair market value through the bid process, and we have 2 bids. The top bid comes, am I supposed to tell who?
I don't think you have to, but.
Okay, the top bid comes from a party on Alarka, very close to the property, and they've offered $29,011 for that parcel. So what we do next is we take that amount to the commissioners at one of their next meetings and give them the opportunity to refuse or purchase it at that. And if they refuse, then we will use the upset bid process to see if there's anyone else who may be interested in that. So in a few minutes, we're going to need for you to approve or accept that particular bid as fair market value. Okay? Is that, did I do that correctly, Kim? Because there are legal pieces to this that I have been in contact with our legal team, and I think I'm following the process
I think you have
correctly.
to accept it with the condition that there's an option to purchase by another party first.
Okay. We'll make sure that we word that correctly, okay? And Kim, I will rely on you, please, to help us do that, whoever makes the motion, okay? Any questions about that? All right. To my knowledge, those are all of the discussion items, unless I've missed something. Any more?
And we'll put the marker across, is that an action item?
It should be there already.
It's not.
Yes, we will. Matter of fact, Mr. McKinney, why don't we start with that?
Okay,
All right, if that's okay with you?
let's do that.
I would need a motion, or you would need a motion approving the price of $29,011 as fair market value. And what is the rest of the wording?
That it's conditioned upon the non-acceptance by the county as an option.
Okay? Did you hear all of that? Is there anyone? I'm not the chair. You're the chair. I'm used to running the
I'm
church.
used to this. That's fine. You have that motion, we have somebody make that motion.
Second.
All right,
We've not had a motion.
we've not had a motion yet.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we accept the bid of $29,011. However, that's conditioned upon the county rejecting the first option to purchase at least that amount.
Thank you.
Second.
Are you seconding it? All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor by show of hands? Motion's carried. All right,
I recommend Swain County Board of Education approve the minutes of the March 8th, 2021 open session meeting and the March 17, 2021 special called meeting. You should have copies of both of those.
motion? Motion. Second? Any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion's carried.
I recommend the Swain County Board of Education approve the budget amendments as they are written and presented by Ms. Treadway.
Make that motion.
All right,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Okay.
I recommend the Swain County Board of Education approve the school nutrition bids as they were given to you.
So moved.
Second. All right, any discussion? All in favor by show of hands?
I recommend that the Swain County Board of Education approve the 2021-2022 calendar as it has been presented to you.
Motion.
All right, have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All right, all approved by show of hands? Motion's carried.
I recommend Swain County Board of Education accept the resignation of Kayla McMahon as PE teacher and varsity volleyball coach effective June 30th, 2021.
Have a motion and a second?
Motion. Second.
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor by show of hands? Motion's carried.
I recommend the Swain County Board of Education accept the resignation of Daniel Childers as custodian at Swain East Elementary. Swain East Elementary?
Yes.
Swain West Elementary, effective March 26, 2021.
All right,
Motion.
Second.
all right, any further discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion's carried.
I recommend the Swain County Board of Education accept the resignation of Tim White as child nutrition assistant effective April 26, 2021.
Okay, we have a motion and a second?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion's carried.
I recommend the Swain County Board of Education accept the resignation of Madeline Wyke Mazer as teacher at Swain West Elementary effective June 30th, 2021.
Motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion carried.
I recommend the Swain County Board of Education employ Lisa Sutton as principal at Swain West Elementary effective July 1st, 2021. May I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
We had 12 applicants, 6 from outside the system, 6 from inside the system. Those who we interviewed, we could not have gone wrong with. However, based on recommendations that we received from the committee, and those were based upon ideas from the staff at West Elementary, our team feels that Lisa will do a fine job. However, I want everyone who applied for that, and particularly those who were interviewed, to know that the decision has been very, very difficult, and we could have won with any one of those. Okay.
Thank you. All right, do I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor by a show of hands? Motion is carried.
I recommend the Swain County Board of Education employ Lydia Sell as head varsity volleyball coach effective April 20th, 2021. It's important for the board to note that I have had no input and no activity in this decision at all.
Motion. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor by show of hands? Motion is carried.
I recommend that the Swain County Board of Education accept the resignation of Patrick Wilson, CNA at Right of Interest Pre-K, effective April 2nd, 2021.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor by show of hands? Motion is carried.
I would recommend to the Swain County Board of Education that you employ Landon Hunt as a track assistant coach effective April 20th, 2021. The purpose of Mr. Hunt's employment is specifically to train our pole vaulters.
Motion. Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor by show of hands? Motion is carried.
Those are all of the recommendations for resignations and employment that we have tonight.
No, the one, they had marked through one.
That one has been removed and will be placed on a future agenda. Okay?
Do we have any public comments? I don't think we've got any signed up, has we? Okay. Anything else, Mr. Superintendent?
There are calendar of events in April. I think maybe one of the most exciting, y'all help me, is the senior walk April 30th. We need to make sure that we put the senior walk on your calendars. That's the day when the seniors will go from the high school to the schools and will walk through town. I think that I've said to the public that if you want to see the walk through town, you need to be in place by 9:15 that morning. That's become a tradition for us. And I know the April 30th, yes.
We're taking a check to the high school for that other program, but we just take it up there.
Yeah, that would be fine, or you can give it to one of us if you're talking about the,
Dr. Brown.
yes. You can give it to one of us and we can get it there for you. Okay? Other than that, I think that we've cleared the agenda.
Okay. Anything else? Have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
And a second, and all those in favor, just stand up and adjourn.
Thank you so much.
Okay. We're clear.